Hi guys, it's Alexa here, and I'm sitting down with Brad and Brody again. We're doing our Lux Homes Building Dreams. We are going to do a little show and tell today on a beautiful house that they just did, this beautiful custom build. So guys, thank you for coming in again. I always enjoy our talks.
Yeah, thanks for having us again. We haven't been canceled, so that's a good sign.
Maybe next week. So let's start off easy. Can you guys, or one of you jump in, whoever wants to start off? What this family? What was the vision behind this house?
Well, this house here happened to be a rebuild from the 2023 McDougall mountain fires. So our client came to us. It was a house that was there. They really had an emotional attachment to it. I think it was pretty tough for them to lose everything that was there for their family. So they came in. They said they really wanted to have the same kind of footprint, house size, but add a third floor to the home. So when we started going through the design, that's kind of how we started working with it. We started with our basement, figuring that out, then the main floor, and adding that upper floor, which was their master bedroom and the primary bathroom up there.
Wow, so I never really thought about, yeah, I guess you're dealing with people that have lost everything. So that adds a little extra pressure to make sure you're building something that they absolutely love.
It was a bit of a learning curve. I mean, we didn't really think about the magnitude of that loss when we first started planning. So, we pulled out old photos from their old home to kind of ask them, what do you like about this? And what did you want to change? And the emotional attachment that they had as soon as we put those pictures up made us really kind of clue into how devastating a loss that is for someone. And we quickly pulled those pictures down and said, we can just talk about it. We don't have to look at it. So
yeah.
And I think it really made us want to go the extra mile for them as well, for this build, and really listen to what they want and their dreams, because you've seen that they actually cared for their property and they want to have the memories there for a lifetime too, right? So we made sure all the construction practices and everything that went into the home kind of matched that as well, so that there's something that will be there forever that we're proud of that we built, and we know when we go up and down the lake or down the road that house is going to be there for them and they're enjoying it.
So let's talk a little bit about the house, and we'll get RJ to go through some of the photos. So this is obviously the living room. Can you talk about this photo or this space?
I'll go first, I guess. So yeah, it's obviously the living room there. That whole floor is really wide open, right? So on the one side there, you can see the dining room over there, that it goes out to a huge deck that they wanted that was built there. And then if you walk out the one door, you can have views of the lake out the front deck there. You can see he's got his TV. It's a big entertaining area for the family. Obviously, they spend a lot of time with the kitchen and stuff there. Off to the one side, they have a little nook area before you go upstairs. That's where they set up for their kids' craft area as well. So all in all, I would anticipate this is where they're going to spend most of their time hanging out as a family. Those beams there, they're all wood cladded that the guys took some time to put up there, and get them all stained the right colors and everything.
yeah, this house in the design process, everybody's a little different. These clients specifically wanted their kids to be a floor away from them. Some people want their kids on the main floor. So in this particular design, the kids' bedrooms are on the first floor, and then the main floor is very wide open and kind of utilizes the space for their walkout, and then upstairs is the master bedroom bath.
I think the other thing about that main floor too is it's very bright, right? Like, it's got a lot of natural light through it. I think it's a nice place to just kind of hang out and think about your day and hang out with your family as well. Versus, some areas that could be closed in. We took advantage of a lot of windows and stuff on that floor.
I was going to say, I think what I love so far from what I've seen is how natural, bright, light, soft it is. What style is this? If you had to put...
I'm not a style guy.
Okay.
You're asking the wrong people.
I was going to say, but what would you guys call this? Like, modern chic farmhouse? Like, what kind of... Like, if your interior designer was around, or do we need to skip on?
I mean, I think it's a modern farmhouse, but I'm probably wrong. The interior designer we worked with on this house did a fantastic job of capturing the clients, their vision and kind of where they had, feelings of like the exposed wood beams and the soft tones and the the colored island and stuff like that. She really nailed it. So the clients, when they walked through this, were really blown away with the way the vision came together.
Is there any unique or custom, like, well, the house is custom, but is there any innovative, smart things that we can't see in here, or?
No, I don't think there's anything innovative or smart, just other than, we built to the step code that we have for the building code. We used ICF for the foundation. We used an under slab insulation for a radon guard instead of using radon rock on this house. It was the first time we'd done that. One of the reasons we did that was to kind of speed up the schedule, as well as just less manual labor putting it down and less steps that had to go into it. So yeah.
I think the one kind of innovative thing, I guess, would be it's got a manual generator offset so that, West Side Road power goes out quite a bit. So they have the ability to plug in their own generator. It's the second time we've done that feature in a home, and it allows them to kind of power critical loads so that the house isn't just dark. Fridges, the heating service, stuff like that is all kind of powered.
I guess another thing we did too, maybe it's not innovative in the fact that the technology's been around forever, but we purchased an iGuide photo thing. And what we did with that is we would come at the rough-in stage and take photos of the house so you get the 360 views all over. And that's able to help us later on down the road if we ever had to move anything or there's an issue behind the walls. We kind of know where everything is. We can get measurements. And, construction's not perfect. And, a wire was nicked. And that photo, that iGuide, was able to help us find out exactly where that wire was for measurements and not make a big hole in the wall for the repair.
That's very cool. Do you guys do that in all your custom?
We do now. And it actually, there was a water line that got hit too. And we didn't find it until everything was pressurized at the end of the build. It was hit in drywall stage, I believe, after our plumbing inspection. And it made it very easy to locate where that would be, open the ceiling up, patch it, put it all back together, and there were no delays. So
this was also the first, I was talking about rough and framing. You guys don't see any of these pictures there, that we marked out everything on the floor too, right?
Yeah.
So what we do with that is we mark out every plumbing fixture, all the electrical boxes, HVAC returns, stuff like that. So anything that can get covered with drywall, because sometimes, when you're covering these up, the drywall or somebody might miss cutting that stuff out. And if you have the marks on the floor, we can go by later on and check. We do our checklist to make sure everything's done. So that kind of sped up the process too, versus having to find this later on and maybe make a bigger hole in the wall too.
Very cool. Hey, RJ, can we hit next to the next few photos? Okay, so talk about this staircase. It's quite...
This is my favorite photo of the whole house, actually, is you're able to look up all the way up to the ceiling from the first floor up, the 3 floors there. I really like the way that the handrail and everything kind of turned out with the pickets and the wood on there and the staining. I think it just gives it that grand entrance. When you kind of walk in, you can kind of look up.
I want a grand entrance. That looks amazing.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool feature, being able to have that visually, but also it allows a lot of the heat. They've got a wood stove in the basement, and it allows that heat to kind of travel up through all the floors. So,
and I think, another thing too for people is, like, when you're designing these homes too, there's a lot of structure that goes into this too, just to create this. So, there's a bunch of beams under all the openings, and a lot of thought process has to go into it, even just during the framing, to make sure everything kind of lines up too, right? So we're there checking along the way, making sure the framers are doing it properly. They double check everything as well.
RJ, can you skip to, I think that's the master bedroom? Next photo.
I think so, yes, that is the master. So they've got a loft style vaulted ceiling master bedroom, and they've got a master ensuite that comes off of that. So that was a big want on their list when we were designing this home.
I think it's kind of nice too, because you're separated from everybody, so you have a quiet place to go. If you have kids and need a moment to breathe, or guests you kind of want to get away from, like when Alexa comes over to visit and you've had enough, you're a full floor away.
Yeah, you have a man
cave. Versus next door.
Well, I would also say though, like they sounds like they want to like grow into this home. Like you're not always gonna have like they seem like they had younger kids, but eventually your kids get older. You don't really need to be right beside. There's lots of video cameras that you know. You
Yeah.
can, I was gonna say spy on your kids, but I don't have kids, so I don't know. But
I think the interesting part about this house is, yeah, it's down West Side Road, and people think it's far away.
it's not.
It's not that far, and the area is just, it's a gorgeous area. It's a nice little bay down there. It's kind of private, set
Like
back
this.
there. So yeah, I think it's a good place to, you know, raise those kids and enjoy the house, right? And that, I'm sure we'll get to a photo of the deck, but the deck is just huge. I don't even know what
What you're
all
gonna
you
do?
can put on the deck. We were joking about it with the clients too, right? So
Well, maybe they'll get you back and they'll help get you to help design and come up with something fun.
yeah,
Okay, RJ, next. Okay, the bathroom. I love a good bathroom. This is the master bathroom. Can we go next? I think there's I like this image. Obviously the two sinks, but anything else to add about why a master bathroom is so important?
I mean, I feel like until you have one, you don't realize how nice they are to have a his and hers sink.
Yeah.
This is obviously before all the product gets put on the countertop, but it gives you a lot of room and a lot of space to kind of each have your own area. And then you can also blame one person or the other on who's dirtier.
I was gonna say it's a competition to see whose sink stays the cleanest when you're spitting your toothpaste in there, right? So
Or you're just like side is tidier and the other person's where they have a bunch of stuff.
yeah,
I honestly, and we're going to talk about this in another episode, so let's not get down this rabbit hole, but I do think this is something that adds value to your house, correct? If you have a double sink in bathrooms?
I
Or
feel
is
like
it just a nice to have?
I feel like it does add value. I feel like a lot of people want that separation and that grand, you know, primary bathroom for their home, right? Their own space. I think it is pretty standard. Most of the custom homes that we build now have those dual sinks in there in the primary bathroom.
Yeah, even actually some of them have them in like a Jack and Jill when you
Yeah.
have two kids.
That's a
Then
good option.
you can kind of put them
Yeah.
both in there and there's no clawing and fighting.
And
I don't know if it adds monetary value, but it
Okay.
adds a wow factor when people walk in and they see it, you know, it kind of sells people on that image.
Well, I think also if you, like for me, I only have one bathroom and I would love another sink. Like if you're going to share a bathroom, like you'd need another sink.
I think if you have the space too, it just doesn't make it feel so empty having
Yeah.
the two sinks, right? There's designated spots. First, I understand countertop space is nice, but
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, when you're getting ready, your own sink is great too, right? And adds that character to the bathroom.
So this is a unique shape of a house. So can you talk a little bit about the outside? You can see a little bit. There's the upper deck. Is that the garage entrance, or can you walk me through?
Yeah, so there isn't a garage on this house.
Okay.
We did frame it in a way that if they wanted to put a garage on, they would, where you see that entrance door that could turn into a garage against that wall. Our design restrictions were based on height for this house. So in order for them to get that upstairs bedroom, we had to get creative with the roof lines. Obviously, they didn't want a flat roof on that top floor. So we just kind of played with, you know, what we had and kind of worked with a roof line that they liked. They kind of liked that modern farmhouse look with the board and batten and the black and white. And yeah, things really just kind of came together as we worked through our restrictions, but working with their desires kind of what they wanted, we made it work.
And when we did the design, they almost loved it on first sight from the first rendering, right?
Yeah.
So it was a lot easier to like kind of play with it and tweak it from there. There wasn't a lot of changes at the beginning. You know, taking the time to listen to them. I think you know, the guy who did the design there, he was able to really nail it right off the bat and move the process forward. And all those windows on the outside, that's where the staircase is going up to that upper floor in the loft there. So I think, you know, just all that natural light going through there, I think it's great and I like it.
What's that? What goes like that big window on, I guess, my right with the light this side?
This one?
Or,
Like
that one.
that one? That looks at, so when you come up the stairs onto what would be the main floor, they've got a little bit of an open space. That's what Brad was talking about, where they can kind of set up their art.
Amazing.
The light is really just for them for their front entrance. or side entrance, I guess. Their front entrance is kind of right by your head. But the reason that light's up so high is so that in the future, if they were to put a shop there, they would have the roof line come right across the bottom of that window. They'd take out the two smaller windows, and that light would still be kind of usable on the exterior of the house.
That craft area we've spoken about a bit. That's where their kids draw Delaney pictures all the time.
Yeah,
So-
our project coordinator,
Cute.
when they moved in, they had pictures for her that they'd drawn of her in the house,
Aw.
and it was a pretty good experience.
RJ, can you go back to that one deck photo? Yeah, this. So this is the deck space that you're just talking
Yeah,
about.
it's how many square feet is it?
I think it's around 700 or 800 square feet.
It's massive. It's
It'd have
built
to
out
be
of moisture shields. The decking that was put on there. Brody's very familiar with that product from his days of building docks back in the day.
Very passionate about
Very
the one.
passionate about the
It's
moisture
got
shield.
It's got an infrared inhibiting technology on it so that it
Oh.
doesn't heat up in the sun. If anyone's been on a composite deck, they know what it can do when it beats down in the sun all day.
That's
So
cool.
it keeps it about 40% cooler than a standard composite deck board. So I really pushed for them to do it because,
Looks like they're gonna get a lot of sun.
yeah, and it's quite an upgrade, but it's like, when your kids are running around in bare feet, like
Yeah.
it almost makes your deck unusable when they get on there. So
Well, yeah. Think of
And-
the Okanagan. Sorry, the Okanagan summers. You can barely go walk on the beach sometimes because your feet are so.
yeah,
I think the big thing with kids for a composite deck like that is the lack of slivers they're going to get in their feet.
Mm.
Nobody ever talks about that, but try taking slivers out of your kids' feet at a young age. Right?
slivers like pressure treated or cedar, they're
Yeah.
irritating. Like they can get infected really easily, and then you just have zero maintenance. So
I was gonna ask about the maintenance. Is this like a lower maintenance? So
You-
it costs a little more, but
costs a little more, but it's done. You'll never
Yeah.
have to replace it unless you just don't like the color. Yeah, it really is a great product. I mean, any composite decking for
Yeah.
that matter turns it into a zero maintenance deck, but the cool deck technology that's on this one makes it kind of a cut above.
And there's a lot of framing that goes into it as well, right? It's not your standard framing. You got to be a foot on center for everything. A lot of
Yep.
cross bracing or cross blocking as well for the pattern that we did on the top of it. So it's not just a simple slap the boards on there. There's lots of thought put out, and because Brody's so passionate, he drew a little picture for everybody too. So
Yeah.
that definitely helped out.
you just seem very passionate about it.
I'm yeah, I like my decks
Yeah,
and my docks.
Well, we're in the Okanagan. We should have good
Oh
decks
yeah.
and docks, and that's where we're almost there. We have rain behind us today, but we are almost there where you're just sitting on your patio and enjoying. Okay, I love this home. I know that everyone has different style, everyone has different taste, but I love how clean, light, bright it is. It looks like a dream home. Can I move in? So can you guys just share, can we wrap up and say a little bit, like how did it feel then when you finally, talk us through the process of when you bring in the families? Like, do you blindfold them, tell them to open their eyes? Like, what was the reaction?
Well, they actually lived on the property when we were building the house.
So they're pretty,
So they were sneaking peeks there every day.
Oh, darn.
But the morning that we went there was actually, we finished the project about a month ahead of schedule. Would you say, Brody?
Amazing.
2 months before, and
Yeah.
like
Nice work.
we had a goal to get them in internally before Christmas. So we turned it over. I believe it was a December 20th. We had the keys to them. So that was a big excitement for us. And we did a red carpet for them to walk through and their kids, and they ran through the house. Yeah, it was pretty, and they were pretty emotional about it, and
We
they're
did
very appreciative about it.
Yeah, we did a ribbon cutting
Yeah.
for them, and it really hit home when we started walking through the house and they started talking about their experience of just the loss, and like they chose to live on the property in a fifth wheel, so almost 2 years
wow.
with 2 kids under 4 in a fifth wheel trailer. I mean, like that experience and just everything, it just made me really realize like how important this build was to them and how much they've been looking forward to it. And then shortly after we walked them through the house, you could hear the girls running around slamming doors and
You're like, don't slam
oh
the doors.
yeah, it was
Don't
like,
touch
hey,
the walls.
door slamming's not covered under
Sign this
warranty.
piece of paper first. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're good to go.
But no, it was a pretty good experience, especially getting them in before the Christmas holidays, and yeah, it was really something. This was our first design build for somebody with a loss like this, a total loss, and
Got
it was
emotional.
yeah, super rewarding experience for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was very rewarding. For me, I was just, like I said before, happy that we got to move before Christmas, so they had a home for their family and stuff for that holiday
Santa
time,
to
right?
come.
For Santa, exactly, right? To come down that chimney.
I will say I didn't think we were going to get it done. I was definitely the
negative
So we didn't-
Nancy.
So we didn't
out of it.
talk to him in those meetings. It was just me and Delaney talking
I was
about
just
it. But
like, good
Not
luck.
happening.
Like, that's so tight. Like, we are ramming everything in the last 2 weeks.
Oh.
And to get the photos done before they moved in and everything, it came together. I mean, Delaney's not here, but she deserves a ton of credit for pushing that schedule, and our site super. I mean, all the little errors come out right at the end, all the little nicks in the walls, all of our sub trades. I mean, everybody really made it happen.
I think that's the big point there. Is everybody kind of came together for that goal to get it done, like Brody was saying.
Yeah.
And they all worked late too. Like there's guys there till 10 or 11 o'clock at night working to help us get to this goal and prove Brody wrong that we could get it done, right? So,
I mean, even like our painter was there the morning we moved them in. He was there. I think he got there at 6 a.m. and he was just, doing some final touches around the house where nicks and stuff were done. Everyone who worked on that house, they really came through and it turned out perfectly.
And I think they didn't just do it for us either. They did it for the clients as well because they were so nice to them. They bring them cookies and muffins.
Oh my
and
gosh.
all that stuff. So people want to go the extra mile as well when you have great people like that, right?
Yeah, that are being positive and upbeat and grateful.
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice story to share. So thank you, everyone at Lux Homes, everyone that helped out to make sure that this family got to spend Christmas in their new home. Amazing story. So thanks for sharing, guys. And we'll see you in another episode with Lux Homes.